Hello there, Lunar Squadron, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Star Wars Battlefront video. This week, the gaming world was shocked by the announcement of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. But among all of that excitement, some people were seriously concerned about this game, with some so concerned that they would call this game pointless. Today, we're going to break down whether or not you should be that concerned about this release, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you, and the way to do that is go down below this video, click the subscribe button, and make sure to hit the bell notification button right on next to it. It's going to let you know every single time that we upload the latest and greatest gaming videos here on YouTube. With that, Nick, ready to get into this one?
Yep, definitely am.
All right, let's get into it, guys. 2004's Battlefront and 2005's Battlefront 2 are perhaps two of the best Star Wars games ever made. And for that reason, when Nick and I heard of this re-release from Aspyr Media, we were very excited. However, a lot of people in the comments immediately were quick to let us know that they had one glaring issue with this title, and it was, of course, the apparent lack of crossplay for this game. And some have even gone as far as to say that the lack of crossplay has made this game pointless entirely. Earlier yesterday, Screen Rant posted an article titled Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection will be pointless without one feature. Of course, referring to crossplay, many people think that this is a glaring issue for this title. Nick, what do you think about this?
How we currently understand the situation with this game is that at minimum, this title will be cross-generation, and what that means is if you're on PlayStation, you will be able to play PS4 with PS5 players, Xbox One will be able to play with Series X and Series S, and then of course PC will be with PC, and the Nintendo Switch will just be with the Nintendo Switch. But one thing that we don't know for sure, Andreas, and we're leaning towards it's probably not going to be there, is cross-platform, meaning PlayStation being able to play with Xbox players and Nintendo Switch players, and PC players, and a lot of people have been pointing out that that might be a huge problem with the gameplay for this Battlefront Classic Collection if you are splitting your player base amongst all of these different platforms, and you will also be splitting your player base potentially because this is not just one game, it's two games, it's Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. So there's just a lot of division going on with the overall player count, and I don't know if I want to sit here and say that this is a huge problem where this is a game-breaking situation for this title, but I definitely don't think this is an ideal situation, especially because this title is 20 years old, and while it is one of the most popular and best Star Wars games of all time, I do worry where if these platforms cannot play with each other and the player base kind of starts to dwindle, that maybe this game just will not have that longevity very long as it would if we could have those cross-platform situations. However, I do think the fact that it will be cross-generation will help alleviate some of those issues, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned by the lack of cross-platform, just because it makes me worried about the overall longevity of this game, because we've seen it with other titles where they lack cross-platform and you start splitting player bases and all of that, and those games tend to die out a lot quicker, and we're not talking about a brand new modern AAA title. Again, this is a game that we've all been able to play for the last 20 years, so definitely has raised a level of concern for me for being able to play this, 1-2 years from now and having the servers be filled and populated, and you're not sitting there forever waiting to get into a game. I am a little worried about that being possible down the road a lot sooner than it would if this game was cross-platform.
Not to mention, Nick, the Battlefront Classic Collection might have a uniquely difficult time filling all of these servers, because when you think about it, this is really two entirely different games here, given that Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 were entirely separate games. We don't think this game is going to have the same launcher and the same lobbies, and all of the maps and modes are going to be combined into one thing. If we had to guess, this is going to be two completely different launchers bundled into one package, and so what you're going to have here is two completely separate games on four completely separate ecosystems. You've got PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. So that's 8 completely different ecosystems. And on top of that, you have over 40 maps in this game. You have Conquest, Capture the Flag, Hunt. You got the Hero Assault, the Space Assault. There's so many different lobbies and ecosystems that you have to populate to have a well-oiled machine of a Battlefront community for these games. And without crossplay, it feels like this is going to just be a Herculean, impossible task. So given all of these circumstances, Nick, I personally do think that there is reason to be concerned that there will not be crossplay for the Classic Collection. And I would at the very least hope that Aspyr is hearing out this concern and trying everything they can to address it.
Yeah, it definitely could be, but the one thing that is making me not sweat when it comes to this game is, while I'm incredibly excited about the potential to have online multiplayer and for like you and I to sit down and play these classic games from our childhood and relive those memories, what made this game so special back in the day was not the online multiplayer. It was the Galactic Conquest mode and playing offline, and like that's still going to be there with this game, and it's going to be a lot more accessible for a lot more people. So if nothing else, at least that is going to happen. Like I can now have it on a modern day portable console, you know, the Nintendo Switch. So if I'm traveling somewhere, now I can take Star Wars Battlefront with me, and that sounds very appealing. I will absolutely be picking this game up on multiple platforms, at least the Switch and at least the PlayStation. Like, so at least that accessibility will be there, and that is incredibly exciting. But I do think that this could be a potential big problem for the online longevity for this game, but maybe it won't impact the overall longevity of this game, because I don't know how many people are going into this game for the online multiplayer versus how many people are going into this just to experience that old Battlefront experience just in a much more accessible way.
You know, that's a really good point, Nick, because for those of you who don't know, Battlefront does have a lot of compelling single player offerings. This game has XL mode, it has Galactic Conquest. Both Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 have their own single player campaigns. So there's a lot to go on in this game with the single player modes. And then of course, there's also bots. If you like playing with bots, if that's your prerogative, then go ahead. But I think there will be plenty to do both online and offline in this game. So I don't think it's as dire as people are making it out to be, but I would still really, really like to see an effort from Aspyr, if at all possible, to maybe someday make crossplay happen, because I think it really would help populate games. And of course, this is something that is going to impact different ecosystems differently. I know just from poking around Reddit that people in the PC community are particularly worried that PC games, particularly retro reboots like this, have kind of a short shelf life. They get this short surge of players that come and show up and try the nostalgia kick, and then things kind of start to wear off after a while, and there seems to be more longevity on consoles. I'm also thinking that people on Switch, not typically the console that you think of when you're thinking of online PvP environments, I would be concerned for those communities, and I would hope that there would be some effort or some push, if possible, to establish cross-platform, just to make the online component of this game a bit more enjoyable and have that much more longevity going forward.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that this game does have going for it, and I think this is going to be a big selling point and definitely a great idea and addition by the Aspyr team, was the fact that all of the platforms will be getting this bonus content that wasn't originally available to them. So not only is that online multiplayer component a selling point for this game, the fact that the consoles will now see that XL mode, which wasn't possible back in the day, and PlayStation will get Asajj Ventress and Kit Fisto. Like, there are still plenty of incentives on top of the online multiplayer mode to buy this game. So even if the online multiplayer in the long run doesn't end up working, there's still a reason to buy and play this game. And, you know, I gotta say, that article where it says that this game will be outright pointless without cross-platform, I think that's a little ridiculous to say, just because, like, in our previous video, we talked about this is a great way of preserving an old classic game. We're getting all of this bonus content on more platforms. Like, there's a lot of reason for this release to be happening in a couple weeks. So for it to be called pointless without platform, I think that's a little ridiculous. But guys, let us know your thoughts on the supposed, I don't want to say it's confirmed because it's not, but the supposed lack of cross-platform and only cross-gen gameplay in Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Are you concerned about the long-term longevity of this game? Are you buying this game just because of the online multiplayer? Like, why are you excited about this game? We definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts, because we've seen a lot of people saying that this game might even be like dead on arrival without cross-platform. It's kind of what that article is ensuing, and we just want to hear what the masses have to say. So definitely sound off about all of this and the online multiplayer down below in the comments. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.